Right, I think it's time for another quick Bantam update because I've been having a bit of a spurt on it the last couple of weeks and done quite a few things. Now the it's not finished because crankshaft's still got to come out for a new big end and so on. So I've just put the engine in just to see how things fit because there are a few things that are different. So if we have a closer look. So this is a D3 barrel, which is 150cc. This is a George Todd head with a central spark plug, and the combustion chamber space is 20cc, so it raises the compression ratio to, well, the static compression ratio to about 7:1 from 6.4 for one. 6.4 standard, so it's not that much. But the barrel is a D3 barrel, so it's 150cc. So we're up to 150cc, 20 thou overboard, 0.5 millimeter. Lovely condition, come off eBay, nothing wrong with it, just been painted nice and clean. I've got a new piston for it, which is here, which 20 thou oversized piston, which fits perfectly. All the clearances are correct. And then we've got a new Delauto carburetor, Molossi air filter. So the kind of thing I was concerned about is the gap in here. Will it fit in front of the toolbox? And yes, it does. And I know what you're thinking, well, it can't suck the air through that tiny little gap. Well, that's not where the air goes in. It actually goes in under here. There's there's an opening underneath. So this is screwed on. So when it comes in two parts. There's a foam element inside, sort of plastic foam. It comes in two parts when you get it. You screw this on and then find out where the bottom's going to be, and then snap that over the top so that the opening's underneath. These are the tubes for the float chamber breather, just to stop rain, water and crap getting up. It's all wired up now, so all the headlight buckets wired up. It's all LED lights. We've got bar end indicators. We've got yeah, I'm sorry, we got one of these things for all the lighting. I did have some of those. I've got a few of those little pillbox sort of switches, and I can't make them fit properly, and they're just nasty. And so I just saw that, so I got that. So on here we've got rectifier regulator, flasher unit for the indicators. This is a ignition coil for this, which is a CDI box, and but still using the contact breaker, which we'll see in a minute. So I think all the lights work. We've got a little battery indicator there. So we've got there's the pilot light. There's the rear light. We've got brake light. We've got indicators like so, and we've got LED headlight, high, low, so on and so on. And there's an extra wire in the looms so that to power the CDI. So the idea is you turn the lights on to turn the ignition on. So now the ignition should work. So we've got a test spark gap here, set for small engine, and if we tickle the there's a contact breaker down there, and so don't know if you can hear it, but that's that working. So that's fine. Um, the indicators are the Moto Gadget, very, very expensive ones made by Moto Gadget, the same people who made the M unit, that little computerized module thing. This is supposed to make it easier to wire up bikes. Now when I bought them, let me think, which was three or 4 years ago, they were like 72, 73 each. I looked them up just recently. They are they've gone up. They're £83 each now. And you buy them singly. They're left and right-handed, believe it or not. So this is the right-hand one, and that's the left-hand one. They are left and right-handed. But you buy them singly because if you break one, you've only got to buy one to replace it, not a pair. So, which is nice of them. Just make them available singly. You don't have to buy a pair. I got them because I've got other ones, but they were useless, next to useless. Some of the ones that are reasonably bright. What else? We've done suspension before, videos before and things like that. The forks have taken apart again just recently. These forks have been taken apart. Squeak. I've lost count how many times. The last time, literally a couple of days ago, was to modify it, or to put in, so the springs are in here, from back there to there, and in the parts list it can show a thing which is called a shock absorber, but it's not a shock absorber in the normal sense. What it is a bit of hose, rubber hose. And I was trying to work out what the length should be, and I decided that in the specifications the maximum travel is 3 3/4 inches. But I measured I said I had all the springs out again. I measured when they're all screwed together it's like a left-hand thread. You screw it onto the top of the fork leg, and then at the top up here, this thing here, that stud coming through there, there's a thing underneath which is screwed into the end of the spring, and it's like a left-hand thread. That was a pain in the arse actually, because this one in particular, you're trying to tighten up that nut and it keeps turning the stud, and of course because it's right hand to tighten it up, if it turns, it's unscrewing out of the end of the spring on the inside. So another thing I recently did is inside here on the end of the stud are shake-proof washers, and that's brilliant because you put the shake-proof washer in there, push it up through the top, put the nut on, and you can tighten up the nut properly without the stud turning. Either that or have a slot in the top of the stud so you can have a screwdriver to keep it still. But so that was really successful. Anyway, so I had it all out. I measured, so the free length of, I don't know what the free length is between the I can't think what they're called, but where the springs, you lose about ½ an inch of the spring at each end, roughly, where it's screwed on. So in between there are 37 coils, and between the space between each coil is roughly 3mm. So I worked it out, that's a total of 4.3 inches. So that means that's how much the springs will compress, and then they'll go coil bound. Now if you don't have these rubber hoses in the middle of the spring, the only thing that stops maximum compression is when the springs go coil bound. Now the old springs I took out, one of them, the one coil had overlapped its neighbour because it had been constantly hammering, and it permanently deformed where one coil's wrapped over the top of another one because the springs keep going coil bound. Well, these are new springs, so that's fine. But I think that's what it is. I think this tubing is to create a bump stop. So when it goes down to maximum compression, it's banging on the end of the tube. Now, originally, when you order one of these tubes, it comes from Dragonfly, and it's 6mm bore reinforced fuel hose, which I thought was a bit too thin. So I went and got I think it's 8mm bore hose, which is an outer diameter of 14mm, which better fills up the spring. So it seems a bit stiffer to me. But anyway, that's how I've done it. So I've made it so that the end of the hoses are should be around about the 3 3/4 inches sort of travel area, and any more that there's another sort of, so according to my measurements, there's another 1/2 inch to go, and then they go coil bound. So in that 1/2 inch, that's when the hoses should be compressed. How well it will work, I don't know, and how long they'll last, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to find out. We'll have to try and see. Anyway, there we are. So all the electrics are done. It's all wired up. Oh yes. Hang on a minute. So get me BSA key ring, and on here I've got this, which is actually a spark plug gap measuring thing. So in the toolbox, there's a wee battery. So there's a battery and a fuse. So that's that, and this is there's all the electrics on here, and the rest of it's in the inside the headlight shell. The battery's got its own so you can take this off. The battery's got its own plug and socket, so you can unplug that and take that off without having to prat about fiddling with wiring. That's the plug for the rear mudguard on rear lights. So again, you want to take the rear mudguard off, just unplug that, take out 3 bolts basically. Well, yeah, it comes off. That's it. I can't think of anything else. Oh, we've got a mirror on it now as well. So I managed to make this mirror fit. I've got a thing which clamps around the handlebar, and it's much better than I forget where they are. Oh, they're not in here. Other mirrors I had was going to clamp on, but just looked horrible and didn't work very well. But so anyway, we've got a mirror on it. We've got this, as I say, which is a ignition on light, and as a battery monitor to see, make sure it's charging. I've tried to keep the wiring as standard as possible according to the diagram for the battery charging version for D1 and D3, which is the YPAC, is it 1451 or 1454? I can't remember now. I can never remember the blasted number. IG 1451, whichever one it is. It's the one that's got the 3 lighting coils. So you've got what you can see here. We've got 3 wires. We've got white, green and red, and white is common. Green is the normal output, which is constantly connected to rectifier, and red is the extra for when you turn the headlight on, and they're still wired up that way. So basically the basic wiring schematic is as standard. My colours might be slightly different, but so as standard as possible, with the extras added on kind of thing. So the indicators and the CDI ignition and stuff are kind of piggybacked on the top of that. I'm trying to make it so that it can be reverted to standard at any time. So the coils in the generator still work fine as far as I know. I have got new coils, but I haven't put them in because these ones still work. Whether or not, I know the coils can produce 12 volt because the rear light originally was a 12 volt bulb, a filament bulb, and you light that up perfectly okay. We'll have to see. Anyway, we're going to find out when we get it running. We should see whether it will make 12 volts or not. If not, I'll have to think of something else. Anyway, there you are. That's where we are at the moment. So now, as I say, engine out, and then start taking it apart, get the crank out, get that fixed. When that's back together, it should be in a state where we can actually, actually start it up. But that's for later. I'll just put the tank on, so see what that looks like. Right, there it is. For some reason that was a bit of a struggle getting the bolts in. Anyway, we've done it now. So there it is with the tank on. Yeah, looks alright. Just curious what clearance there is between the head and the tank. Yeah, it's still plenty of clearance. And you can't really see much of the electronics. It's all hidden under the tank, which is what I wanted. So what I wanted was that because basically it's a AC lighting or direct lighting only version, so there's no battery carrier. So you have a toolbox which is placed in the middle of the frame, and that's all. And there's no battery carrier. So it still looks like that, but as I've shown, there's a little wee battery inside the toolbox, and it is actually a battery lighting version because this engine is not original, and it comes with the battery lighting version of the generator, so we can do that. But it looks like an AC lighting version, which is fine. Oh, by the way, we now got a side stand, like so, which works quite well. It's quite jolly. Oh yeah, here is this is a Royal Enfield tap with a reserve. So we got off, on, and then reserve. It's actually written on the thing. I don't know what the reserve capacity is. I've yet to find out. But yeah, doesn't want to stay right. Okay. Yeah, there it is. So this is where we're up to now. Just about finished. I say all the new brakes, and they're adjusted up, and I've got a new chain. Oh, the new exhaust pipe. Finally managed one of the two new exhaust pipes I bought. I managed to make this fit. I had to grind in here. The flange in here was too big. I had to ground it down, ground and fold it down so now the collar will go on. That now fixed perfectly. The silencer is what it came with. It's a bit long, but we'll just see how it goes. I made a little bracket for it. The support here. I made a support to hang off the bottom of this bolt under here. Or we'll see how it goes. So that's all right, because the original exhaust pipe is in a very bad state. It's half the chrome is missing and so on. But if this will work, then that's fine. So yeah. I've over in that corner there was a big storage box all full of parts, which is all gone now because all the parts are on the bike. So apart from the piston, which is down there in the corner under the just like under the sofa there, that's the only oh, and a couple of cables. Clutch cable I've still got to sort out because the length is not quite right. Throttle cable, figure out how that goes on. I know it fits the carburettor because I've tried it. It's just a case of routing it, routing the clutch cable, and then, as I say, engine out and try and split it and get the crank out. And I'll probably take it to Rex Court Racing, who aren't far away. They're in a little village near Leicester. I can't think of what it's called offhand. That's just a hour or so's drive each way, sort of thing. So anyway, so that's where we are. Yeah, can't think of anything else. I did have a script worked out, but I can't remember a word of it now. So if I've forgotten something, I'll have to mention it again later. All right, signing off then. Until next time. Bye bye.